Hello, my name is Dante Renee from the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1981's Sexual Heights. This is part of the Peakorama Big 2-unit show, Carlos Tobalina films with undulations. But tonight we are looking at Sexual Heights, that poster right there. Unparalleled Peaks of Passion. And this has some big wigs on the male circuit here, but we have Jamie Gillis, we got John Holmes, we got Herschel Savage, as well as some others that are familiar faces. We also have Serena, Tawny Pearl, Lisa Thatcher, one of my favorites, Mai Lin, one of my favorites, and Lolita Grant. Never saw her before. She was awesome. Jesse Adams, Betsy Wayne, Jennifer Duran. I gotta tell you, an unbelievable cast in Sexual Heights, and an unbelievably hot female cast in here as well, especially if you like the younger look. This is 1981, 91 minutes long, and it's directed by Carlos Tobalina. And let's look at this film here, Sexual Heights. Jamie Gillis actually gets top billing in this film. And this is just an excellent movie. Loved it. Very, very fun, zany, and crazy, more than you're expecting. I mean, laughing out loud at some of the scenes in this film because you just can't believe how outrageous it is and how kind of uniquely outrageous it is in the storyline. And kind of that universe that X-rated films exist in. So very, very cool. But let's look at Sexual Heights here. And we're going to start off by looking at the music in this film. And if you know Carlos Tobalina's films, you know that there's a plethora of music. I have to tell you, I believe the music in Sexual Heights is the most diverse amount of music that I have heard genre-wise in any of his other X-rated films. And maybe in films in general. We have classical music, we have Asian music, we have jazz that sounds like it's from a Jess Franco film, we have like music that sounds like it's from a cartoon or a carnival, music that sounds like it's from a 70s dramatic TV show, romantic music, funky, groovy music. We even have some music that sounds like it's from a horror movie, like Psycho or something. I mean, there is a plethora of music in here of different genres, and it's wall-to-wall music. It's really amazing. And the music really collides with what's happening on the screen a lot, and it brings kind of when you mix those two things together, it brings something different, something unique, because it's melding things that maybe in your head you don't think necessarily meld, but here they do, and it becomes Sexual Heights. When we look at the style of this film, Carlos Tobalina is definitely known for a couple trademarks, which he has in here, like duplicating sometimes ejaculation scenes, duplicating different shots of a sex scene but from different angles, and also this kaleidoscope imagery that he uses a few times in here, where images look like you're looking through a kaleidoscope and get doubled and tripled and move around in a circle. Very psychedelic and trippy, and if you look at my other Carlos Tobalina videos on this YouTube page, you will sense that he does it sometimes much more in other films, and not as much in other films. So it's kind of all over there. And now the interesting thing too here is that I also see him filming through things in this particular film. There's a climactic sex scene in this movie where near the end of the film, where he's really doing some interesting things with the camera, where he's doing a lot of distance shots, and then he's filming through the bars of a bed frame or bed posts of some sort, or furniture, a chair in the room, and then he gets close, and then he kind of moves around the room, and it's just a very, very it's really one of the most interesting sections in the film in terms of where his camera's moving. And he definitely has something. Now, in some of his films, he'll get really close up with the sex shots, and then he'll have distance shots. In this particular film, it tends to have more distance shots. Um, and so that was also interesting. And the film that I'm thinking of, by the way, from Carlos Tobalina was Oriental Hawaii, which I've also looked at on this YouTube page, where he does a lot of kaleidoscope imagery, because also there's some drug use in the film, which kind of links to the psychedelic imagery, I guess, in some way. In Sexual Heights, you know, I always say Herschel, just Herschel Savage is such a great actor with any role he's given, and in this one he really has some roles, and it just seems very real in the way that he non-verbally and verbally responds. Same with Jamie Gillis. Jamie just has that real quality to him. And what we have here in Sexual Heights, we have marriages and broken marriages. We have rape. We have kind of pedophilia, big age gaps, babysitters, teen girls. We have drugs and drugging for sex. We have one of the most creative ways of getting a teen girl to your house that I have ever seen in a movie, and just in general that I've ever even conceived of. We have people dressing in drag. We have fake babies, wives that, surprise, have a penis, two-way mirrors, VHS tapes, VHS porno tapes. Carlos Tobalina does something very interesting in this film as well, where he kind of shows you, porno movies, and then you're watching it from a television screen, and then the camera goes in, and you're actually watching it as the movie that you're watching. So that's an interesting perspective in here as well. But porno tapes, that was something that was utilized in here. Intense desire and passion and lust. Wanting what you cannot have, and friendship with people in a similar situation, a group of divorced men living together. And you have Sexual Heights. I have to tell you that some of the sex scenes in here, very interestingly enough, have, especially like the first one, tend to be filmed in some less explicit ways, and not your typical X-rated hardcore way. And then other sex scenes are much more explicit. So it's very interesting in the diversity in here. I will definitely tell. We also, we do have a lot of drug use in here. We even have some coke going on. And there's a sex scene with Mai Lin that I've never seen her get that wild before. It looked like she was really having orgasms. Her whole body was shaking. It was crazy. Really, really intense and wild. Crazy type of sets in this movie, like the furniture and the beds and the sheet designs of the beds, and just really interesting kind of architecture in the scenes of the set designs. And I have to tell you, definitely, if you like buddy comedies, you're going to love Sexual Heights. But if you like buddy comedies and you like the schoolgirl vibe and the babysitter vibe, you're going to absolutely love this movie. I actually rate this extremely high on the scale of, like, the best, schoolgirl X-rated film. I mean, it's so amazing. The girls just look amazing. The sex scenes are awesome. There's wild orgies. There's just really perverted stuff, just gazing and drugging girls. And I mean, it was wild. And funny, yet hot, and weird, and crazy. And you might see Herschel Savage in drag. You might. And he might play it really, really well. Oh man, and Lisa Thatcher, believe it or not, this might be my favorite film with her in it. she was amazing in here. She looked incredible in here. I think she was about 20 or 21 in this particular film. And if you're a fan of Tawny Pearl, she was also great in this movie. If you've seen her, you know, in Tinseltown or many other films, I think even Frat House, she's great in here as well. I just loved the females in this film. The female casting was impeccable. We get some great exteriors of the very nice home in a really kind of great car, like an old car. All in here, folks. All in 1981's Sexual Heights. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like Sexual Heights. Please feel free to check out all my other videos on this YouTube page, as well as my own personally made films at vimeo.com/poopy diarrhea. That's POOPY diarrhea. Thank you so much, and good night.